Okay, good afternoon. I'm Rui Zheng from Zhejiang University. I'll present our work, CLIBE, detecting dynamic backdoors in transformer-based NLP models. NLP backdoor attacks can be classified into two types, static and dynamic backdoors. The static backdoors are characterized by a fixed trigger pattern, such as a selected word or phrase. For example, as shown in the table, inserting a trigger word pseudo can flip the backdoor model's prediction from toxic to non-toxic. In contrast, dynamic backdoors rely on latent textual features such as a specific style or syntax, which can also manipulate the backdoor model's prediction but are harder to detect. While static backdoors are straightforward, they are not stealthy. First, inserting a static trigger may reduce the linguistic fluency, making it detectable by input filtering methods. Second, the strong correlation between the trigger words and the backdoor behavior enables trigger inversion. In contrast, dynamic backdoors are much more covert. They preserve the linguistic fluency, evade trigger input detection, and establish only weak connection between explicit patterns and the backdoor behavior, which makes the trigger inversion ineffective. Motivated by this, our research goal is to detect NLP models that are embedded with the stealthy dynamic backdoors. In this scenario, the defender is the maintainer of the model sharing platform, and he has no access to trigger input test samples. Detecting dynamic backdoors presents two challenges. First, it is difficult to characterize the mathematical form of the dynamic trigger. This complicates the trigger inversion. Second, dynamic triggers exhibit diverse attributes, including various styles and syntactic structures. To address these challenges, we propose examining the model's parameter space. This approach avoids modeling the complex dynamic triggers in the input space and remains agnostic to different types of dynamic backdoors. Specifically, our key insight is that the backdoor models are susceptible to weight perturbation. Through carefully designed weight perturbation, the backdoor behavior can be activated even on clean inputs without the trigger, causing a significant increase in the prediction confidence for the target class. To support our intuition, we visualize the model's parameter space landscape. Here, the objective function f measures the model's prediction confidence for the target class given the inputs from the non-target class. We can observe that the backdoor models exhibit local maxima with significantly larger values than those of benign models. These local maxima can be interpreted as a signature of the injected backdoor. We further provide theoretical analysis to support our intuition. Here, we consider a two-layer text CNN model trained on sequential Gaussian mixture data for binary classification, where the target class is the positive one. We have the following results. With a high probability over the randomness of the data from the non-target class, any small weight perturbation of a blind model cannot induce misclassification to the target class. However, there exists a small weight perturbation of a backdoor model that can lead to misclassification to the target class with a high prediction confidence. Further analysis of the hash matrix eigenvalues reveal that the perturbed backdoor models exhibit very strong generalization in classifying samples as the target class, even when these samples are from the non-target class. Therefore, the generalization of the perturbed models is a reliable indicator of the backdoor, of an injected backdoor. So, enlightened by these findings, we propose our detection framework, CLIBE. It consists of 4 key modules: data preparation, future perturbation injection, future perturbation generalization, and the final backdoor judgment. Our detection process requires auxiliary data relevant to the model's task. We can extract such reference samples from a general corpus, such as wiki text. Alternatively, we can synthesize these reference samples from large language models. The next step is to perturb the model. The goal of this perturbation is to make the model classify a few reference samples from the source class S as the target class T. By leveraging the attention mechanism in the transformer-based network, we perturb the projection matrices in the specific attention layer. To prevent the models from collapsing, we further constrain the norm of the weight perturbation and restrict the influence dimension of the perturbed hidden states. Here is the workflow of our proposed few-shot perturbation injection. The model's input is a reference sample from the source class S. The green blocks represent the unperturbed hidden states, while the red blocks signify the perturbed hidden states. To restrict the influence dimension of the perturbed hidden states, we randomly select another reference sample B from the source class S and extract its unperturbed hidden states. Then, at the layer L, we mix the perturbed and the unperturbed hidden states and send the mixed states to the remaining part of the model. Finally, we calculate the loss and update the parameters of the weight perturbation at the layer L. After applying the weight perturbation, we evaluate the perturbed model's generalization in misclassifying samples from the source class S as the target class T. For each reference sample from the source class S, we calculate the logic difference value LD and aggregate them to form a logic difference distribution. We know that a strong generalization ability corresponds to a very concentrated logic difference distribution. So we use the self-entropy of the logic difference distribution as the generalization metric. The final step is to enumerate on each possible pair of the source class S and the target class T and calculate the corresponding entropy values. And we select the minimum one as the detection metric. So how do we determine the detection threshold? We believe that the standard Gaussian can serve as a measure for the concentration of the logic difference distribution. So we use the discrete entropy of the standard Gaussian as the detection threshold. Given a suspicious model, if its detection metric is below the detection threshold, we consider that the model contains a backdoor. So here is the evaluation. Our evaluation includes 4 text classification datasets, 3 types of advanced dynamic backdoors, 2 variants of transformer-based networks. Later on, we will extend it to generative models, but here we first focus on the classification models. For comparison, we include 4 baselines. Piccolo and DBS use trigger inversion for NLP backdoor detection, while the free ego and MMBD are adapted from the image domain techniques. So the experimental results reveal that CLIBE achieves very strong performance in detecting source-agnostic dynamic backdoors with an average F1 score of over 0.95. In contrast, the baseline methods, Piccolo and DBS, fail in trigger inversion, while free ego and MMBD struggle in classification tasks with a small number of categories, such as sentimental analysis, which, however, is a common scenario in NLP classification. So CLIBE is also effective in detecting source-specific dynamic backdoors. It also performs well when multiple dynamic backdoors with different target classes are integrated into a single model. We further analyze the sensitivity to influence factors. These factors include the Poisson rate, the purity, and the source of the reference samples and the hyperparameters. The detection performance remains largely unaffected to these influence factors. A notable strength of our detection framework is the robustness against adaptive attacks. Here we consider 3 types of adaptive attacks. The first attack, posterior scattering, targets the detection metric by varying the prediction confidence scores of different trigger-embedded samples. The second and the third adaptive attack, with freezing and latent backdoor, aim to evade the weight perturbation strategy. So in weight freezing, the attacker freezes the weights of the model's layers from the defender checking layer onward and replaces them with just clean pre-trained values. The third adaptive attack, latent backdoor attack, embeds backdoors in the model's layers only in the layers preceding the defender checking layer. CLIBE is robust due to the following 2 mechanisms. First, it adopts a pairwise scanning mechanism for each source target and for each source class and target class pair. This makes it robust against the first adaptive attack. Second, CLIBE actually captures the ensemble weight abnormalities of the entire model. This makes it robust against the weight freezing attack and the latent backdoor attack. CLIBE can also enhance the trigger inversion in detecting static backdoors. We know that trigger inversion often fails when the static trigger consists of very long phrases. However, through weight perturbation, CLIBE can approximately activate the static backdoor when trigger inversion falls short. In this scenario, CLIBE can reduce the false negative rates of the trigger inversion in detecting static backdoors. Finally, we extend CLIBE to generative models. Here, our focus is on detecting backdoor generative models that are modified to exhibit toxic behavior when the input prompt contains a certain trigger word. Our method is to stack a toxicity detector onto the output of the generative model and perturb the generative model to increase the toxicity scores of the toxicity detectors. The results show that CLIBE is effective in detecting both backdoor-based models and adapters, such as Norris, and CLIBE can scale to even billion parameters, large language models such as GPT-Neo and OPT models. So in summary, CLIBE is the first framework to detect dynamic backdoors in transformer-based NLP models. We also provide new insights into backdoor detection from the model's parameter space, and CLIBE is robust against the adaptive attacks. Finally, CLIBE can be extended to generative models and expose the backdoor vulnerabilities of large language models. However, CLIBE may face challenges when detecting generative models that are characterized by a fixed attack target. That is, the attack target is a universal target sequence. This is an open challenge. So that concludes our presentation. And thank you for your attention. Any questions are welcome.
Thanks for the brilliant talk. If you have any question, please walk up to the microphone and ask them.
So thanks for your presentation. I feel like the first few pages regarding your observation that the landscape between the benign and poison model are quite interesting. So my question is, because I'm not really a inner of NLP, so my question is, do you have any insight why, when you train the benign backdoor models, the landscape is different?
Yes.
Any factors to influence this landscape forming? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, we believe that the backdoor models contain some backdoor-related neurons. If the model's input is clean, these backdoor-related neurons are often not activated. However, through proper weight perturbation, these backdoor-related neurons can be activated through weight perturbation. This can lead to the increase of the prediction confidence of the target class, even when the input is clean, when the inputs are clean. And we also provide theoretical analysis based on the simplified setting.
Okay, is there any other question? Please remember you can always engage with the author offline if you have a very long list of questions. Okay, then
okay, thank you.
Thank the author for the presentation.